Alright. Kama kawaida, Daktari ya quick one hapa. Yet another one of these exciting episodes. Leo mazeni ile siku. Nawaletea one of my mentors, a very, very good friend, I'd say, a mentor of mine. He's mentored so many of us that I just know, wale najua, na kuna wengine sijui. And he's above all a cardiologist, deals with the heart, does amazing things, is an entrepreneur. Oh my God. One problem though, he speaks very fast. So if you don't take us here, you're going to miss a lot. It's Dr. Nduiga. We're going to try as much as I can to slow him down so that we understand and we tap into his knowledge. But stay tuned. It's going to be amazing. Leave your comments, your questions for Dr. Nduiga. I'll share the link of where you can find him. If you want to refer a patient, if you're a patient who want to see them, he's amazing. He's done amazing things, even for me personally, and I owe him a lot. So leo tuko na Nduiga. Stay tuned. Daktari a quick one. See you in there. Daktari a quick one. Yet another episode of this amazing series of episodes we're doing on Daktari a quick one. Na leo nimewaletea a very, very brilliant, amazing guest, Dr. Daniel Nduiga. We're hoping to tap into his experience, his knowledge, his wisdom, and his inspiration to all of us. So he's a cardiologist, but I'll give him the pleasure of introducing himself with all his titles. Kuanzia hapa mpaka Timbuktu and back. He tells us, those abbreviations. Which ones do you have, Doc? Yeah, please, Doc. Karibu to Daktari a quick one.
Thank you.
Let me just ask before we continue. Daktari a quick one, this the name of this podcast.
Yes.
I don't know, as a doctor, do you get any of those quick ones where patient just calls you from nowhere? Like, Daktari a quick one. Au mama hata ulikuwa kwa matatu. Hey, you're a doctor, but yeah, a quick one. Do you ever get those?
All the time.
All the time?
Yes, I do.
And how do you handle them?
With consideration and politeness. And sometimes I have to politely request that we have this discussion later when I have more time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you ever feel like, because I know we have lawyer friends,
Yes.
and you are never a quick one to a lawyer.
Yes.
They will always tell you, okay, I see that matter, but you need to do this, so that they can always pay a fee.
Yes.
But doctors will sometimes go unpaid with these quick ones.
Yes.
Do you ever feel that, my services there, my knowledge has gone for free?
Yes, it happens all the time. Having said that, we do have a duty to society and the community. It's when it becomes a habit.
Yeah.
And also when there's significant issue or health condition that requires follow-up, and it becomes too many quick ones, one after the other, after the other.
Yeah.
Yes.
People are avoiding to go to hospital. They just know doctor will consult.
Yes.
And it's very hard to. You can't say no. Can you really? Because can you say, well, no, I won't help you, unless it's not an emergency. I don't know. Have you ever said no? Because I find that very hard.
I always try and direct you to where you can get the help you need. If I'm not able to offer it to you at that point.
You tell them, and I go hand that to someone.
I direct them, yes.
Yeah, but then they feel maybe you're avoiding. I don't know.
Yeah, those feelings come. It's true, yes.
All right, so karibu sana to Daktari a quick one.
Yes.
Where we have very long conversations about everything medicine.
Yes.
Okay? So it's a pleasure to have you. I mean, from my interactions with you, you're one of the most brilliant doctors I've met, and one of the most inaitwaje kumenta ni kusema aje na kizungu kushika mkono to us young medics, and we always feel listened to and heard. So karibu sana, it's a pleasure to have you.
Asante sana daktari, nashukuru.
So tuanze. Dr. Daniel Nduiga. Who is Dr. Daniel Nduiga? Unapenda kujulikana aje?
Thank you so much. I am a physician, cardiologist, and electrophysiologist in private practice in this city.
In private practice purely?
Yes, in this city.
Nairobi.
My clinic is based at Reliance Hospital, Doctors Plaza. Though in transition, we'll be relocating to the Chancery building in Valley Road, first floor, by the 1st of April this year.
Ah.
Yes, we are.
You're moving?
Yes, we are moving. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You move very fast.
No, we don't. Actually, we've been in a current facility for 3 years.
Yeah. Then that means it's been more than 3 years since I knew you. Because I knew you when you were in Nairobi West.
So you're growing younger.
Nairobi. You started in Nairobi. Is that where you started?
Yeah, that was our first clinic. Yes, on Bukani Road, Nairobi West.
Yeah.
Then we moved to Reliance Hospital, located on Ole Shapara Road in South Sea. And shortly, the next 2 months or so, we should be moving to the Chancery Valley Road first floor premises.
Amazing. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So you said purely in private practice.
Yes, that is true.
Does it mean you've never worked in public?
No, we all required the hand of the government to work within public sector. That's why we started. I did my undergraduate medicine in the University of Nairobi.
The university?
Yes. Then after about a 4-year period of practice, I went back for my master's, University of Nairobi once again, internal medicine. And I worked with the government for about 2 years. Initially in Embu as a medical officer intern. Then Marsabit.
You did an internship in Embu?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I was in Marsabit for about a year.
Marsabit?
Yes, I did. I went all the way to Marsabit.
Wait, yes. What year is this? What year did you do your internship?
I did my internship from November 2002.
2002?
Yes. I
feel like a baby. Yes. 2002 I was in class 2.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad you're having this discussion.
Wow. Yes. So that's when you did your internship in Embu.
In Embu. Embu PGH.
It was provincial hospital at the time.
Yeah, that's what we used to call it.
This is Eastern Province.
Eastern Province. So Marsabit was also Eastern, so I ended up there.
Oh, okay.
For between January 2004 and later on that same year. I think it was around September of the same year is when I left for Nairobi and came into private practice.
The same year?
The same year. But I was employed in Nairobi Hospital.
After you left Marsabit.
Yeah,
so you worked in Marsabit for less than a year?
Yeah, well, I reported actually in December. So it was December to September I was in Marsabit. Yes.
Marsabit. How was that?
It was very tough because I remember there was even one day I actually took 24 hours to get from Isiolo to Marsabit itself.
Wait, you were staying in Isiolo?
No. Isiolo, of course, is the last place where the tarmac ended at Archer's Post in those days. The rest of the road was just Maram. And there was no regular transport. Either you have a government vehicle to take you, or you should ride with AMREF, flying doctors, or you actually take a lorry. And the lorry available for me that particular time was one that had cattle and goats. So cattle and goats are below. Then there's cement on top of the lorry. Then us guys are now on top of the cement for a whole 24 hours.
But this is at the back of the lorry?
Oh, yes. For 24 hours.
It's not like you're hitchhiking on the lorry na umekaa uko na dereva.
No, that was going to be an extra charge. I think they charged me, was it 750 shillings between Isiolo and Marsabit? For
750 shillings?
Yes.
In 2002, this is 2003?
Now. No, 2004, sorry. 2004 is when I was working in Marsabit.
Wait, at this time you're already a doctor?
Yes. Actually, I was even the boss at Marsabit. I was a medical officer of health.
You're the boss. Because I'm imagining as a Nemo back in 2003, that's not a small chair.
Yes.
That's quite significant, but you're riding on the back of a lorry.
There was no other transport. I had to report to work because I'd taken a short break and gone home. So it was quite an experience.
Oh, so you'd gone back home. Home is in?
Nairobi. I actually grew up in Nairobi.
Oh, you grew up in Nairobi? When you were Sewanai?
Yes.
Born town.
Yes, I was born and raised here, yes. That's true.
Nice. Yeah. So you'd come to Nairobi for a short break. Now you're going back. So, umeenda na matatu or something, paka Isiolo?
Paka Isiolo. Yeah, there used to be buses all the way to Isiolo.
Oh, buses.
Now from there, it was look for transport. And the only transport available was...
Jipange, my friend.
Yes, it was quite an experience. I can't forget that. Yeah.
Wow. And so what about the government vehicles like ambulance or something?
At that time, I think the hospital's vehicles were broken down. In those days, as Kibaki took over power, most of government facilities were in shambles. Really in trouble. Because I remember, I think it was just at the time I arrived is when at least one more vehicle came on board in Marsabit. And I think at that time I was the acting medical officer of health, but I had a boss who had taken the vehicle all the way to Nairobi for a meeting. There was no vehicle to come and pick me up. Besides, most of the time they need to have fuel for those vehicles because you'd actually have to fuel the van in full, then carry jerry cans of fuel or have money to go and fuel in Isiolo when you arrive there. Now, of course, things are very different. There's tarmac all the way to Mwele. Yeah, but in those days, tarmac ended at Archer's Post.
Airports, the airstrips are there.
Yeah, airstrip was still there.
Oh, there was.
The only flights that used to actually arrive that I actually saw with my own eyes for those 9 or so months I was there, maybe 10 months, was AMREF flying doctors bringing in a volunteer specialist care.
Oh.
So I hitched a ride with them, I think twice or so, and that was really a blessing because in 2 hours in Nairobi, all the way from Marsabit.
Instead of 24 hours on
24 hours on a lorry, yes.
Hata heri ungechukua camel or a donkey.
Got an experience. Yes.
But so it was hard working there. In short,
working there.
Yeah, it's remote.
Yeah.
Was there how's housing in the first place?
Actually, the government had good housing. We had very good housing.
Okay.
I had a 3-bedroom bungalow to myself, a bit disheveled, but at least some of the bedrooms were good. There was no running water. I think we had to tap some water.
Okay. Place is semi-arid.
Well, actually, Marsabit itself is actually quite a good town. Actually, very good weather, a bit dusty. So the issues we had then is that there was no mobile network when I arrived there. Airtel came and found me there when I was already there.
That time it was called Kensel or something.
It started off at, I think the first name was Kensel. It's Kensel, it's true. It's changed their hands several times.
Severally.
Yes,
including
Celtel.
Celtel, something.
Celtel. Yeah.
No,
yes.
So how do you communicating with what? Letters?
At that time, actually, I already had a girlfriend, so that was quite a struggle. Trying to keep in touch with
That's why you were taking the break.
Then I've had to go to the call box, try and ring it. Yeah. So it was quite an experience. Very maturing.
Wow. And how was the hospital? But you said you had support from AMREF? Volunteers.
They used to come. I think it was once in 3 months. We'd get AMREF sending in a specialist. So that was useful. We'd actually plan our patients for surgery or for specialist care, ENT care, that kind of thing. Prayerfully, things have really improved now in most of the counties
because of the evolution. And all.
Prayerfully it has. But in those days, it was a tough road to go.
Did you have any government specialists like locally? No.
I was a doctor.
You were the boss.
Really, I was a doctor. We did have some mission hospitals that had doctors. The Catholics especially were a very good force in the area and had some of their own missionary doctors. But beyond that, really, I was the only doctor in the whole county, literally, at that time. I did have a boss who most of the time was in Nairobi. So it was either me or him in the hospital and really in the district at that point.
Oh, your boss was based in Nairobi?
No, meetings.
Oh, meetings all the
either
time.
in Embu or in Nairobi.
Yes. Wow.
Yes.
But then I'm just assuming at that time as a medical officer, having done your training and internship, you had a broader span than currently.
Yes, in terms of my practice. Yes, I did, because I did do some surgeries. Sometimes I had to do them on my own because anesthetics doesn't have to be seen. So you give the medication, then you come and cut. Yeah,
You're kidding.
Quite different story. Things you don't
you give your medication on your own, so like if it's intubating and all, you do it?
You don't intubate at all. No intubation, conscious sedation for major surgery. That's what you had to do. Yeah, so prayerfully those days are gone and nobody's experieing those things.
Those days are gone, man. Right now, even local. You call anesthetist. To give for you local anesthesia. Wow, that was quite an experience. So you left there after 9 months.
After 9 months, I came to Nairobi. I worked in Nairobi Hospital for a period of 2 years, and I went for my master's.
Okay.
Yes, never to Nairobi once again, internal medicine. Yes.
Just 2 years in Nairobi Hospital. Were you sponsored to do masters? Was it self-sponsorship?
I had to actually organize my finances. By this time, I was married.
Oh.
And
Daktari, move fast.
No, I was not a young man because I got married at 28 and a half.
28 and a half?
Yeah.
That's very young.
It is.
In our standards nowadays. 28.
That's when I got married.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
And that time you were now working you got married when you were in Nairobi Hospital?
Yeah, Nairobi Hospital.
Yes. Okay. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So that's around 2006?
2005.
2005.
Then a year later, I went for my master's. Yes.
In internal medicine. So you started as a physician?
Yes. So I finished in 2009 and my first job was with Dr. Robert Madenge. Who I'm very grateful for having received me after my master's.
Dr. Robert Madenge.
Yes, he's a cardiologist based in Nairobi Hospital.
Oh.
So he was the first to ignite the spark of cardiology in me.
As an MO?
As a physician.
Once you've done your... And why did you choose internal medicine? in the first place? Why not surgery? Why not? Because, and it's actually very hard even for us people who've not decided our paths. Because, you usually start off with, neurosurgery.
Yes.
Then you get somewhere, who wants to go back to school for 7 years now?
Yes.
General surgery.
Yes.
Even community health. Okay, let me just do public health for 1 year.
Yes.
How did you choose and finally land into internal medicine in the first place?
It's a combination of factors. I can't say that I always knew what I wanted to do. I do remember being counseled by one of our mentors in Nairobi Hospital at that point, Dr. Robin Mogere, who's a urologist based in Nairobi Hospital.
Urologist.
He actually sat us as young doctors down and then told us that in this life, you'll either be born very good at something or you'll get good at something.
As you go.
I already knew at that point that my gift was my mouth, that I'd succeed the most, I was going to use my mouth the most.
Okay.
So the natural option seemed to be psychiatry, and I entertained those thoughts till I got married, and my wife told me to my face, "You're not becoming a psychiatrist." I don't know what she had against psychiatry, but she told me, "No, you'll become a psychiatrist."
Is she a medic?
No.
She's not a medic.
An administrator, and actually has really helped us quite a bit in the practice.
In your private practice?
Yes.
Yeah, you'll help us. You'll give us some advice on choosing our spouse later. Yes. Now that we're in Valentine's month.
Yes, you're already there.
Wait, so you were thinking of psychiatrist. She said,
she refused. I didn't understand her, but she refused. And I think that did help propel me forward. I would say the decision for internal medicine came through several mentors. At that point in my life as a young doctor, I had Dr. Louis Loilume, who was my boss in Nairobi Hospital, accident and emergency, a physician who's still my friend. And I also had interactions with Dr. David Silverstein, the Charles Kariuki, who are both cardiologists in Nairobi Hospital. And I noticed the physicians were more welcoming than the surgeons. They were more willing to hold your hand, with the exception of Dr. Robin Mogere, who actually sat us down and he was willing to talk to us about his own work, his own experience. These tidbits did help us frame our thinking and allow us to begin to think through our future. So it does make a difference when an older doctor or a more experienced doctor sits with the younger guys and, tries to give them some tidbits and some direction.
So that's what we try to do here in Daktari Gikonyo. Bring you guys and, try help shape some of our futures.
Yes.
Unknowingly.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it was more influence than anything else. Then when I arrived at Dr. Robert Madhenge's clinic, he did hold my hand and helped me for 2 years. But I'd say the point that things changed.
After you've done your master's?
My master's. I worked with Robert Madhenge for about 2 years. But I would say the day things changed around the most for me was when I arrived at Karen Hospital. And I met Dr. Dan Gikonyo. I was introduced to him. Because I left Dr.
Gikonyo.
Dr. Dan Gikonyo, cardiologist at Karen Hospital.
Yeah.
I left Dr. Robert Madhenge in around July of 2011. And the same month, I met Dr. Dan Gikonyo. And I remember him greeting me by hand. And then he spoke to me. He said, "I'm going to make a cardiologist out of you." And he sure did. Over the next 9 years, 2011 to 2019, over the next 8 years, he actually really chiseled me into a cardiologist. I worked very closely with him, together with Dr. Anthony Gikonyo, his son, who are both excellent cardiologists and mentors. And I'd actually attribute my career in cardiology to them because they invested in me. They took the time to teach me, hold my hand, correct me, direct me. They work very hard. So it was not an easy environment in the sense of you just relax, you kick your feet up and rest. No, we worked really hard, but they were very good mentors. And really what I am today, I really owe to the two of them.
And how did you get there anyway? How did you get from Robert Madhenge to Karen and Dr. Gikonyo?
So after I left Madhenge, I did work for a medical officer who was going to India for holiday. And I remember going to Kenya Cardiac Society, 2011. And I remember one of my classmates asking me, "Now that you've left here, do you have a job?" I told him I don't have. So that same colleague spoke to Dr. Helen Ngushu, who's based at Karen Hospital, and told her, "Get this young man a job. He doesn't have one." That is to say, the field that we work in is very social, very collaborative.
Yeah, true.
Very much, a lot of what you're going to succeed in doing comes from your colleagues. So Dr. Ngushu asked me for my application, took it into the boss, and told the boss, "Employ this young man." The same boss was spoken to by a nurse who was working with Robert Madhenge together with me. And the boss asked her, "Can I employ this young man?" And she said, "Please do. He's a good young man." So I found that the word of mouth by my colleagues opened the doors for me to get into Dr. Dan Gikonyo's office.
Wow, just from people having friends and referring you.
My colleagues just said, this young man needs a job, you help him. It was Dr. Riro Mwita, who's a physician at Kiambu, and one of our KMA bosses is the one who said, this young man needs a job. Dr. Ngushu, please give him a job. And that's how I got it, yes.
So Dr. Ngushu was working in Karen?
Karen the Fine, yes. So we worked together for quite some time before she also began her private practice.
Amazing. So where would you tarmac?
Not really. Actually, even when I left Marsabit, I got a job immediately from one of my internship mates. Once again, gave me a job for about 2 or 3 months. Then another colleague who were working with in Meridian at that point gave me the job at Nairobi Hospital. So jobs have always come my way, but it's more to do with your relationship and association with your friends. Do you interact with your friends? Do you are you helpful to them? Are you willing to bend over backwards on their behalf? That I'd done, and actually just friendly to my colleagues, and the ones who give me the jobs.
And also being good at your job, right?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Primarily, when push comes to shove, is when you begin working at internship. The academics are useful, they're important, but it's more of an individual effort. It's more when you now begin to work that people actually see, this guy can be trusted. He's a good doctor. He's collaborative. He consults. He is willing to be corrected. Exactly. They give me jobs.
Okay, so it was quite a journey for you. So how was it in Karen? Apart from the great mentorship, so this is when now you start cardiology proper in Karen.
I was still a physician now, a physician cardiology fellow.
Now you became a fellow.
Yes.
Okay.
And,
you
Dr.
are
Dan
now
Gikonyo.
purely in cardiology, I think?
I participated in the cardiac clinic, Nairobi Heart Clinic with Dr. Dan Gikonyo, Dr. Anthony Gikonyo, Dr. Helen Ngushu was there with me, and several other doctors. And we did that. We did the awards, and then we did outreach clinics. So not just the knowledge of cardiology, but also the practice of cardiology, diagnosis, treatment, follow-up. Because I would say Dr. Dan Gikonyo is an excellent therapeutics master. He's a master of therapeutics. So he actually drilled that into us. He's actually a workaholic. So he also drilled that into us, the willingness and the commitment to work hard. And there is no other way.
He's always at work.
There's no other way. So he really drilled that work ethic into us.
Yes. So did you go back to school to cardiology, or that was your fellowship and that
was my main training? I did spend a year in India, sent by Dr. Dan Gikonyo and Andrew Gikonyo, where I majored on electrophysiology, which is my other specialty. So when I came back, now I was recognized as a cardiologist, electrophysiologist by the board. That was now 2016.
What is electrophysiology? What does that entail?
You have to take an analogy of this room that you're sitting in the studio. We have the door. The door can be compared to the heart valves. We have walls that can be compared to the heart muscles. Then we have, for instance, the water we are taking. If, for instance, this room had taps, the plumbing would be compared to the blood supply. So you have the blood supply, the walls, and the doors, and electricity. For this room to function as a proper room, it requires electricity. So that's where electrophysiology comes in. It's a study and treatment of abnormal electrical activity of the heart. Yes.
Okay. So basically the SN nodes, the packages, the ECG specifically.
So ECG is what we work with. And they break it down into so many small parts called EGMs, electromyograms. And they're the ones that now we work to correct.
EGMs, electromyograms. Is that now like an ECG to a specific muscle in the heart?
Yes. To specific areas in the heart. The sub areas in the heart.
Also, you can be able to actually pinpoint where the problem is and
then correct it. Primarily for fast heart rates. Because for slow heart rates that are intractable, we fix pacemakers.
We put pacemakers. So when there is, I actually had a patient today with an arrhythmia. It's like, without symptoms. Should I send them to a cardiology? Should I not send them? Then I was like, okay, let's monitor. Do you think I make the right decision?
If they are symptomatic, the answer would actually be an ECG. See what kind of arrhythmia
we did the ECG and it was just a sinus arrhythmia.
Oh, that's okay. Sinus arrhythmia in a young person is expected because this is a sinus modulation of the heartbeat, so that when you in expiration, the heart beats slower. When you inspire, heart beats faster. So that's sinus arrhythmia. It is normal.
So that's thank God. Yes. Sometimes it's hard to make these decisions on your own. And you're like, am I making the right decision? Am I not? But I find that in some areas, this country, especially when you're in a good setup in Nairobi, you can always consult.
Yes.
But some places are not privileged to that. You've grown up in town.
Yes, I have. Yes, that's true.
But when you're in Marsabit, you are the only doctor.
Basically, I couldn't consult anyone.
You couldn't consult anyone.
Yes, that's true.
But now we have consultations, and I don't know. What do you think of patients in those areas, the rural areas? Have you, maybe in your private practice, do you get referrals from far, like, and wide rural areas? And this person has maybe been mismanaged for a long time.
Yes.
I don't know. How do you handle those? Like, now they're there, misdiagnosed, mismanaged.
It is always a challenge. I had the privilege of working in the outreach clinics for Karen Hospital, which were in Nyeri, Nakuru, Meru, Karatina.
Karen has outreach clinics.
Oh, yes, for many years. Karen has run these clinics. It was a privilege to take care of the people in the rural areas who have been underserved and very many times poorly diagnosed or mismanaged or underdiagnosed. And to be able to work with the drugs that are locally available that are fair, to be able to help them. So it's true. We do have a lot of patients who have heart disease that is undiagnosed.
Or misdiagnosed.
I'm glad for efforts like what Mata does. Mata does runs camps.
The
in the
Mata
rural areas.
one.
So they actually have teams that go out in the rural areas, look for people who can be pulled in to benefit from the funds that have been obtained under the Mata Heart Run program.
But is that just surgery? I thought they just do.
Well, they screen them. They need to put them on medication. They do. And the ones who need surgery, they are brought to Nairobi.
So they see all cardiac patients.
They see all.
Okay.
So that really helps.
I was always meant to believe they only do congenital heart anomalies.
They preferentially take care of children and diseases that come, or children are born with diseases or that are acquired in childhood. That's a preference.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay. So rural Kenya, I don't know. Why do you you said you worked in rural areas and then you're in Marsabit. I know you're a born Tao, but would you consider working there?
Yes, we will.
Like in a rural place?
Yes, we will. We do have plans to open at least 2 outreach clinics in some of the rural areas of this country, so that we can work in a spoken hub system where basically, if we can, we take care of you where you are. The diseases that don't require, super specialized care, we can take care of them where you are. But the ones who need to come into Nairobi for more specialized care, we'll do that for you also.
Okay.
So we do have those intentions.
In your private practice.
Yes, we're going to do that.
Let's circle back to your private practice. You said now, when you left Karen under Dr. Gikonyo, that is 2019?
Yes, 2019 is when I left.
2019 is when you left.
Yes.
But you had been board certified in 2016 as an
as cardiologist and electrophysiologist.
Okay. So officially you became cardiologist in 2016.
Yes, I did.
All right. And then now you start your own practice in 2019?
Yes, I did.
What was the motivation behind that?
I wanted to offer the same services that we were offering with Karen Hospital in an area that did not have those services easily available. So I moved to the Nairobi West area. That was my first clinic. And we actually were fortunate enough to receive very many referrals and walk-ins who had heart disease, many of them not knowing. And then we made sure that our pricing structure was acceptable to them.
Affordable.
And actually we did see a very good response from the hospitals around us and walk-ins and referrals. Yes.
Okay. What's the name of your practice?
We are known as Heart Rhythm Medical Center.
Heart Rhythm.
We're also known as Dr. Nduiga and Associates.
Okay.
We go by those two names.
This is a name you came up with?
Yes. It's I have a passion for rhythm disorders, a passion for the heart, and a passion for people in general. Yes.
So you like rhythm. So because you're also into electrophysiology, heart rhythm.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But I don't believe you also do other
Yes, we do. Being a physician, I do take care of general medical disorders.
Okay.
We have a lot of hypertensives in our clinic, a lot of people with diabetes, a lot of asthmatics, other diseases, chronic diseases we do take care of.
We still do.
Sometimes we get walk-ins people who has as minor things as a cold or an injury or even gout. We get a lot of patients coming in with tummy problems, tummy upsets.
And you can still take care
we still take care of them. Yes.
So okay, hiyo ndio tamu ya kuspecialize. You can still you still see what anybody else can see, but with reference to cardiology.
Yes.
Okay. So you said the other name, you are AKA Nduiga with associates.
Nduiga and associates.
And associates.
Yes.
So yeah, I happen to have actually met you through some of your associates, and
Yes.
they speak so highly of you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I don't know, you're quite the mentor. Is this because you are also mentored?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I owe really the practice to Dr. Dan Gikonyo and Dr. Gikonyo because of holding my hand. It's natural that I should turn around and do the same for young people.
Yeah.
I have always desired to help. Yeah. And there's no better way of helping other than imparting what it is that you have and what the skills you have to someone else who can do the same to someone else. It's actually scripture. It says the things you've learned and seen in me, both do, and teach to others, or entrust to others will teach others also. So you keep a multiply effect.
Jesus.
Yes, he said that. It was more Paul. Paul is always said Apostle Paul. So you have a multiply effect, so that what I do and can apply, I give to someone else who also can do and apply, as long as I've trained them and coached them in how to do it right.
Amazing. I mean, one of your associates, Dr. Fauna, and she was on the podcast, one of our very first guests.
Yes.
She's not already somehow now, embarrassingly so to some of us, that she's already in her second year of masters.
Yes.
Yeah, yet some of us are still feeling so young. And, I was asking her, why so early? And she was like, I had the correct mentorship. I had the best learning. And she attributed everything to her first job, which was you, under you. And I think that was great.
I'm glad to hear.
Yeah. So I think in terms of that, you're doing amazing. I think there's also Dr. Fiona.
Yes. I am working with a colleague, cardiology fellow right now, Dr. Fiona Kahonge. I've been with Dr. Fiona actually since 2020. She's still doing her master's. So when she finished her master's in, this must have been 2003, she joined us full time. So
2023.
2023, sorry.
Yeah.
So the whole of last year she was with us. And she's now going into her second year, full time.
So now she's a
Second
fellow,
year.
cardiologist fellow.
And you're looking to propel her into full cardiology, accreditation, and to work as a cardiologist fully.
Amazing. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So you're growing and expanding.
Yes, we are.
What are your future plans? You said you want to open branches. What you call them?
So in the immediate future, we're going to be relocating to a more central area. We've had our patients requesting us to move to the Upper Hill area because they feel it's closer to many of them. We get patients from all around, from as far-flung areas as Lamu. From Kisumu. Yes, we get patients from Lamu, from Migori.
Lamu is like an island.
We have patients in Kisumu. We have patients in Mombasa, Kilifi. We have patients from all around Malindi. We have a number of patients in Malindi.
Really?
So what I do is that we already have a relationship with them. I've made the diagnosis, put them in medication. So identify colleagues that are based in these areas, and they can take care of the regular problems that the patient might have. So they come to me as and when they need to, which will probably be once a year or maybe twice a year, not more than that, so that it's easy for them and there's close help available to them. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's good. So you've created quite a name already.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Because I mean, Migori, Lamu, that's the whole country.
Yes, we do have.
Amazing.
Yes.
And how is it? Because I was talking to a colleague, and this is on my TikTok. Are you on TikTok?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, I have a page on TikTok, and I was asking people, why is it so hard for for doctors specifically to actually get into private practice? And I've seen several of my colleagues, even people older, try businesses, and it gets really hard to a point that they are not even able to pay staff. So you find people going into bad practices of, not paying people who have worked to spend their time, and it creates a bad reputation for the facility. I don't know, how is it for you? How is it easy to stay afloat, or how is it business acumen? What makes it flow like that and just keep growing and growing?
I think if I point about that, timing is important, because I've had colleagues who started private practice on their own, some even ahead of me, that didn't work. So timing is important. Your skill set is also very important.
What do you mean by timing? Time of the year, or what?
Timing in your career.
In your career.
Yeah, how to time shifts and moves and adjustments in your career. That's really important. It shouldn't be done in a rush, and it shouldn't be done too early. It should be done at the right time. We have a career that prioritizes skill, prioritizes experience, and a name. So that
Skill,
you need to
experience,
couple
and a name.
all this. You also need to couple partnerships and collaborations. It's important, like we discussed how I got my jobs in my early years. They came through the recommendations of my colleagues. So colleagues and their perception of you is very important. And building a referral system is also very important. Secondly, it's important to start where you are. Do not, at this point, just begin to go and buy out a practice that has been there for 30 years and try and run it. It may be necessary to, choose a location that's not as prime, something small, start with something small before you move up to what it is that you really want. So timing, and skill set, expertise, and a name. You need to have a name that you can draw on or you can draw from to be able to help and propel your
create a
practice.
reputation.
Yes, that's important. So that is individual-based practices. Unfortunately, many of our practices in this country are individual-based. There are few successful group practices, and there are also the corporates, the hospitals that are there, where you can actually grow within the system and get to a point where, you are a known consultant in one of them.
So you get referrals from these facilities to your clinics.
Yes, I do.
So you also work in some of the private.
I do as a visiting consultant.
Yes. And you can admit if you want.
I can, yes. Yeah.
So build a name and then time it.
Yes.
So so from what I'm getting, like me now, I'm an MO, barely 3 years of experience. You're saying if I start a business, it's going to be hard.
I haven't said that, but I did say be willing to be patient.
Patience.
Make sure you site your practice at the right place. General practice is not easy in Nairobi. Nairobi is basically a specialized market. The patients want specialists. So the option might be out of Nairobi, one of the other towns. And even in those towns, you need to site yourself in a place where you can be able to generate the kind of patients you need and generate a referral system among the patients. So your work will sell you. If you're general, it has to be your work that's going to sell you, which means patients, which means good outcomes, which means collaborations with all the medical facilities that are around you and medical personnel to be able to grow. So
good. So, Daktari, I think you're doing an amazing job.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
We wish you well as you even continue to grow and expand. So you're moving to Valley Road. Currently, you're at
Reliance Hospital, Doctors Plaza, Oleshapara Road, South C. Yes. We're moving to the Chancery, first floor.
The Chancery is the building.
Valley Road. Yes.
Okay. First floor. So it's bigger and better.
Bigger and better. That's true.
Amazing. So at your you mentioned something about, do you do interventional cardiology?
Yes, I do. I do catheter-based interventions. I fix pacemakers. So the catheter-based interventions are for problems like heart attacks. Also deal with cardiac arrhythmias, abnormal heartbeats where the heart is racing and fluttering. I sort that. I also sort patients who need pacemakers. I also fix things known as inferior vena cava filters for patients who have clots that have a risk of migrating to the lungs.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
that's cardiology. I thought that was more cardiovascular.
Yes, cardiovascular. But it's intervention or it's catheter-based.
So you can still do it. Yes, amazing. So what's your favorite? Do you have a favorite?
My favorite actually is sitting down with patients and listening to them.
Really?
That is the thing I enjoy the most. Oh, yeah. And seeing them get better, seeing them come in well.
That's always
seeing them get better, because the motto for the practice actually is the restoration of harmonious body functions through skill and integrity. So that's what we do. It's actually a scripture. It's from the book of Psalms, talking about King David, that he led Israel with integrity of heart and skillfulness of hands. That's what we desire. We desire that when God brings people our way who are unwell, we restore them to harmonious body functions. So it was something that actually piqued my interest when I was working with Gikonyo and Robert Madenge. You'd see someone come really, really sick, many times despairing of life, both them and their family. And then accurate diagnosis, accurate medication, timely follow-up, but you'd see someone raised to their feet and going about their business. There's no greater fulfillment than that. There's no greater practice.
That is so true. That is so true. This reminds me, even when we were talking about rural medicine, my grandmother, sadly now she's late. My grandmother had heart failure for the longest time.
Yes.
And I learned, because now she's rural, she's elderly, she hates hospitals, she doesn't want to go. So, and I'm the only medic in the family.
Yes.
I mean, and I'm closer to her. And I remember begging her to go to hospital was such a hassle.
Yes.
And I had to sometimes, consult with some of my lecturers about heart failure, read Medscape what to do when she deteriorates. And I bambanyed a long time, and she survived for a long time, and I can attribute to that feeling that sometimes she's so down that we have to take her to hospital because of like full retention and all. And she wakes up and it feels so nice.
To restore her.
To restore her back, and she lives another. She's smiling, she's singing. It was so
very
nice,
fulfilling.
Very fulfilling.
Yes, it is.
So that's your best moment as well.
That's the best moment. The staff and I really, really enjoy it. We receive clients. They, we've worked together now for 5 years.
Your clinic is now 5 years?
5 years old. They've seen patients come in really sick. So from the moment you walk in, there's an atmosphere of optimism. We impart hope and assurance to the clients. And that on its own does, take away a shroud and a cloud of heaviness from many of the patients. Then as you make the right diagnosis, put them on medication, follow them up and make sure they come back for follow-up. Within 2 weeks, most of our patients, not all of our patients, most of our patients are already up on their feet.
2 weeks?
Within 2 weeks.
Amazing.
Most of our patients.
Cardiology. So cardiology is fulfilling.
Very fulfilling. Very fulfilling.
What do you have a patient that you maybe didn't have any or a little hope in them, and then you did your magic and they were up and you're like, wow.
Well, it's not magic, it's science. But it's coupled with very close follow-up. It's coupled with relating with the family and making sure the family is on the same page as a client. It's coupled with imparting hope and assurance to the patient. The patients who've really amazed us have been the very elderly. Because we get shows who've really never taken alcohol or smoked or any of that, coming to us with heart failure. And many of them, we're not even sure we will actually succeed. Sometimes we have to be honest with the family. We tell them we'll do our best, but you can't guarantee the outcome. And to see them a week later bouncing up and down, it's always really good. We occasionally get the young. The young actually do overwhelmingly recover well. And the elderly are the ones that are a bit, dicey. And then sometimes we've had young people who are really, really sick, and to see them restored is usually such a joyous moment for us.
Okay. What's the youngest patient you've seen with maybe a perceived... and let me ask this before we even get into that. Nowadays, maybe to divert a little, I'm seeing very young people with hypertension. Very young in the clinics, people in their 30s and their hypertension, there's no cause. Primary hypertension, 30s. I don't know, is it a lifestyle thing or what is it?
Do they take alcohol?
Some do, some don't.
Because overwhelmingly in my practice, alcohol is the single biggest reason for high blood pressure in under 40. The second one is obesity. The third one is smoking. In that order.
In that order. Okay.
And when they come to you and they're under 40, it is very possible to reverse them back to not requiring medication. Sometimes you get younger patients who come to you with high blood pressure and you simply can't find what is the reason. We had a 17-year-old come to us with high blood pressure.
17?
And you simply can't find what caused it, so you treat. Sometimes it's in the genes. Sometimes it's temporary, it doesn't last long. But you treat during the period that the blood pressure is high, so that you make sure you don't damage the organs. But in my experience, people under 40 with high blood pressure, alcohol history is overwhelmingly. They binge drink. Young guys binge drink. They believe that if they don't take any between Monday and Friday, they can compensate. Compensate and give the body thanks on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And as a consequence, they develop high blood pressure.
They do? Oh.
Yes.
Oh, I've learned something because I've been in my counseling. I actually don't mention alcohol.
Oh, I look for it aggressively. In fact, I don't even ask you whether you take alcohol. I ask you which brand do you take.
And it's always...
And then, of course, some deny it. I do not fight that. But you can actually, for some people, you can actually see alcohol fashes. You get the loss of the fat in the skin. So the moment you walk in, I know you take alcohol.
You take alcohol. Amazing. I think that's the beauty of medicine. When you know what you're looking for, it can be good.
Makes a difference.
Yes,
sir.
So how is your work schedule now? Are you, when you have practice, private practice, you have associates, does that create more time for you? Or are you, how busy are you as a cardiologist?
It does. Most of the time, my day is over by around 4:30. Sometimes it extends beyond that. Sometimes it does.
And what time does it start?
I'm usually already working by 8.
8.
By 8 o'clock I'm usually working. Sometimes earlier, but not as frequently. Unfortunately, my phone doesn't sleep. And the clinic also has a phone.
A lot.
Yeah. And I do have to mentor. I do have to give calls, to follow up, to respond. So the phone probably works more than I do. Yeah. But at this point in time, I'm grateful to God that I am able to take a day off every week. Sometimes it doesn't work out. I don't have to work every weekend because Dr. Fiona Kaonge takes some weekends for me and is able to do really all the work. Probably give me a call once or twice if she has any issues. So it does help when we get together instead of my working in isolation. When I'm willing to work alongside you, you can help take some of the burden off me so that I can actually be effective because exhausted, worn out, burnt out doctors are not effective.
Are not safe doctors.
No, they're not.
So now you have more time with family. You have a family. You mentioned your wife, and you mentioned your wife, and you said you said she stopped you from becoming a psychiatrist.
Yes, you did.
And maybe right now we could be talking a different story.
Yes, you did.
Tungekuwa tunaongelea mambo ya benzodiazepines
and
So how important has she been? And you also mentioned she does some work with accounting.
I work alongside my wife. She's a clinic. Would say administrator, operations director is what she does. She's not in the clinic all the time, but oversees really the administrative and finance aspects of the clinic. Her name is Nduiga. I'm blessed with 2 wonderful children. I have Lily Nduiga, who's 18 actually. I have an 18-year-old in the house.
You're an adult now.
I have a 15-year-old son called Matthew. So they are really a delight. And I thank God so much for them. The practice actually has grown to about, I think there's 11 full-time staff. We are 11. Yeah, we have full-time staff. The one, the social media handler, is not with us all the time. The other 10 are in the clinic all the time. So we have grown in the last 5 years tremendously. And we're growing more as we move up market.
And did you just start with you and your wife? Or how did you start?
Actually, before I left the current hospital, I realized that I required help. So I spoke to a nurse who we were working with. I told her what my plans were and actually pitched. I told her, there's nothing, it's all on paper, but this is what I intend to do and I think it's going to succeed. And she said, yes. Her name is Helen Mwende. Helen, thank you so much. She believed in me when really it was just my wife who was believing in me. So Helen, left her job and joined me. Oh yeah, when there was nothing on the ground. She actually believed in me. So you realize that a name is very important. People who see you working, what do they see? Do they see that you are going to be, there's a future working with you? Or are they afraid that this guy may change his mind anytime? So she actually left her job, steady job, to go to a startup. And then I was able to reach out to a lady called Evelyn Nyawera Neta. So the practice actually had 3 full-time staff, myself, an administrator, and Helen was our nurse from the get-go. Mary, my wife, would come in and out, and then we got help from our friends. We had Paul Simidi and Nelson Onyango, who were with us from the beginning, to set up the accounts cashiering system. So basically that was what we started off with in August, September 2019. Dr. Fiona came on board, Dr. Fauna, first of all. Came on board, I think this was 2021.
2021 December. Must have been after our internship. She was your first MO?
She was my first MO. I've been working with Fiona before then. Along the way, I'd already, gotten on board Kevin Kiondo as a clinic officer, who we're still working together. Helen and Kevin are still with me.
Oh, Calvin.
Kevin.
Calvin is Calvin.
Kevin Kiondo.
Kiondo or Chalo? Are you talking about Chalo? Because I know you worked with Chalo for some.
But it would be
he's a different person. He was on locum basis.
So Kevin Kiondo is with me.
Okay. So you're also creating employment out here.
Yes.
Which is good and noble. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Okay, all right. So now you're moving. You said you're moving to Valley Road and expanding.
Yes, we are.
Any satellites?
Soon. We want to take one step at a time. We want to take steps, not runs. Yes.
Amazing. So you do intervention, you do technology, AI. Is there a role for this upcoming AI in cardiology?
But AI is only as good as what you feed it with. And unfortunately, many of our patients are very poor historians. So that becomes a bit of an issue.
Yeah.
The human element in medicine will never really be possible to take it away, because medicine itself is not an exact science. We borrow from everybody. We're heavy on biology, heavy on physics, heavy on chemistry, but we're also in immunology. We are also in anthropology, we're in sociology. All of these many different aspects come in. So that you still need a human being who is able to relate to the patient, see the patient, hear the patient, even smell the patient. And sometimes the answer is in the smell.
True. Yeah.
AI will never give you that.
It's
Yes.
how,
So it's a
like
good
Dr.
aid.
House. Do you know
Yeah.
Dr. House?
Yes.
Yeah, he makes diagnosis very queer ways. Yeah.
So AI will help us, but it's the user who empowers AI.
Okay.
AI is not going to be independent. It can't be independent.
Now that you're a big mentor and you like to speak, have you ever thought about teaching?
Yes, I have. The practice took precedence. I had to establish the practice first. So at some point in the future, I may agree to take on a lecturing role. It can't be my primary because the practice still has to continue to grow and flourish.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you might.
Yes.
I think you would make a good teacher.
Oh, thank you. I received that. Thank you so much.
I think you would. And you keep mentioning scripture and God. Are you a pastor?
No. At this point in time, I'm a medical doctor and a cardiologist.
Well, you can be a part-time pastor. Unaweza kuwa
I received that also.
on Sunday.
I received that.
Kwa madhabahu.
Mtu wa miraba minne. Okay.
Would you say has religion or Christianity has had an impact on how you practice medicine?
100%. 100%. The truth is what we do. I do remember this was in my first year medicine, 1996. One of our lecturers, his name was Dr. M.F. Dean, ENT. He was a very funny man. He was serious in terms of teaching us physiology, but he'd make sure we laughed. Then he said this: never lose your ability to laugh, because in your career you'll see so much suffering.
Yeah.
If you lose the ability to laugh, you might actually become the sufferer together with the suffering. So the interventions we do, the life we live, without faith in God can be overwhelming. I do remember when I first went into Kenyatta in 1999, I'd go to my room so exhausted at all the suffering I'd seen. So my faith in God is a foundation that has helped me.
Yeah.
It also allows me to give assurance to the clients I receive. I tell them I'll do the best I can, even according to the scripture, with skillfulness and integrity. But I'll tell you the truth the way things stand. I'll turn to the family and tell them the truth the way things stand. I remember I had a bit of a battle. I believe in God and I believe that He's able to heal.
Yeah.
And I used to wonder, now I'm practicing medicine. This was before even, when I was trying to make my decisions towards what course I'm going to study. Am I going to be fighting God? Is sickness and disease, am I supposed to just allow divine healing?
Yeah.
But then the scripture He gave me was James chapter 1 verse 17, that every good and every perfect gift comes from above, from our Heavenly Father who does not change and freely gives everything to us. So medicine is not perfect. There are many things that we miss. There are many gaps in our knowledge. There are many areas we don't know all, but it's a good gift. We do make changes in people's lives.
No cause.
We do.
Yeah.
So I trust in God and I do my best. I offer, wholehearted service to as many as come my way, and encourage them to believe in God, because I know you've seen this in many hospitals and many facilities say that we treat, God heals. So there still has to be faith in the Creator God, who has good intentions towards me as a physician and towards you as a patient.
Hallelujah. And amen to that.
Yes.
And that's deep, and I think you've summarized so many things in that simple statement.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think it's a pathway most of us need to look up to. Science does not mean God is not there.
No.
Yeah. Neither does God mean science is also not there.
No.
Yeah.
We do both.
We do both.
Yes, we do.
Thank you very much, Doc.
Thank you,
I
sir.
think we need to end on that very spiritual note.
Yes.
But what would be your parting shot to maybe younger colleagues now that you're such big on mentorship?
Do not lose hope.
Do not lose hope.
I would say reach out. There are many that I talk to online. There are some that I get to physically touch and work with. There are many that are looking for people to mentor. I would say this, just as scripture says, the steps of a righteous man are ordered of the Lord, and delighted in his way. Though he fall, he shall not be utterly cast down. A mistake we make as young people is that we want to race and imitate Zuckerberg being a millionaire at 30.
Yeah.
It doesn't always work like that. The career we have has a bit of a steep learning curve. And unfortunately for many, you reach the peak, usually in your 50s, is when you reach the peak of your earning power. Doesn't mean you can't enjoy the ride. Doesn't mean you can't take care of your family. You can. Doesn't mean you can't educate your children. You actually can. But a bit of patience is required in these skill-based areas. You're going to see many times your colleagues move ahead of you.
Yeah.
Please be encouraged. Get a right path, walk along it, do the right thing, get a good name, hold hands with people who actually are like-minded and are moving forward, and it shall be well with you. Shall be well with you.
Amen. Patience.
Yes.
That's key. 50s. Wow. Anyway, thank you very much, Dr. Nduiga.
Yes.
I think it's been a great show, and it's been a pleasure having you.
Yes.
I think you touch lives, you touch hearts, literally.
Yes.
And you're a blessing to humanity. I hope
Much
you
appreciated.
continue.
Thank you for having me in this show.
Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
See you next time. I think you can come again another time.
Thank you.
And give us more.
Much appreciated.
Daktari, a quick one. I hope you enjoy. I hope you've learned a lot. I mean, I have, and from even a spiritual point, I feel today was a Sunday. I didn't go to church, but I feel like I've been blessed by just sitting with Dr. Nduiga here, and even some of the questions I usually have been answered. I hope you have enjoyed. Please drop a comment, like, subscribe, share this content. And if you have a heart issue, Daktari is here. Na mmesikia, stop smoking. And alcohol as well.
Thank you so much.
Adios from Daktari.